In this next part, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Here's your topic. You have 1 minute to prepare.
Tell the viewers about part 2. You should say what to talk about in part 2, how to use the 1-minute preparation time, some useful tips for part 2, and explain what to do if you run out of things to say.
Alright, now I know that I want to tell a story, so I'm going to tell a story about how I used to be an examiner and all the ways I wish I could have helped students during the exam. I'll talk about different students and the problems they had, how one didn't know how to use their preparation time, how one was completely off topic, how one ran out of things to say. Then I'll talk about some tips, like telling a story, how you need to quickly decide on the topic, making a spider diagram to help with your notes. Ooh, and I'll talk about the importance of not stopping for the full 2 minutes and what happens if you do. If I run out of things to say, I'll talk about my best tip. Alright, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes, so don't worry if I stop you. Your time starts now. I want to tell you about my experience as an IELTS examiner and the lessons I learned on how to perform well in part 2. I first started working as an examiner in Spain for IDP, and then after about a year or so I began to work as a full-time examiner in China. During that time, I examined all sorts of students and I learned a lot about what makes someone perform well and not so well in part 2 of the IELTS test. So that's what I want to tell you about today. I've seen students with all sorts of difficulties. Some of them spend their whole preparation time trying to decide what to talk about. Some of them were off topic, and I even had a student tell me that they didn't need the 1-minute preparation time, and then after speaking for about 40 seconds, they ran out of things to say. So here's some tips to perform at your best. First of all, try to tell a story in part 2 and make notes to help you tell that story. Now, a story typically has a beginning where you provide the context of the story, a middle where you explain what happened, and an ending where you can reflect on what happened or talk about the future. Secondly, you need to quickly decide on what you are going to talk about. Don't spend the whole minute trying to determine whether to tell story A or story B. Just make up your mind quickly and start making notes. Thirdly, when you're making notes, I would recommend making a spider diagram. When you're speaking in part 2, it's better to be glancing at your spider diagram rather than the part 2 cue card. Also, don't worry if you miss out one of the details of the cue card. As long as you are on topic and giving lots of details, it's not so bad if you miss out one of the bullet points. By the way, the examiner says that you should speak for 1 to 2 minutes. However, to get a high score, you need to speak for the full 2 minutes. If you stop, the examiner will just stare at you and wait for you to continue, which is very awkward. Remember, you don't get to see the clock to see how long you've been talking for. At some point, the examiner will just say, "Thank you," and they may even ask you a follow-up question. Thank you. Have you shared these tips with other students?
Yes, I've shared many tips like this in my website, englishprotips.com.
Hey there, I hope you enjoyed my part 2. I just want to recap on some of the tips that I shared. The first one was to tell a story. Now, this is a great idea for how to give a really comprehensive, full answer in part 2. Now, to tell a story, you typically have a beginning where you set the scene and provide a bit of context. So, for example, I set the scene by talking about how I was an IELTS examiner in Spain and then later in China. Then you've got the middle, and this is where you explain what happened. So in my case, in my part 2, I talked about the problems that students had, and I shared some tips. Then you might also want to have an end to your story where you can reflect on what happened, or you can talk about the future. Now, if you don't have time for the end, that's totally fine. The best part is to have a beginning and a middle, and then keep the ideas for the ending in reserve just to make sure that you can speak for those 2 minutes. My second tip was to decide quickly on the story that you're going to tell. Don't spend a long time thinking about whether you're going to tell story A or story B. Make a decision and then go with it. My third tip was to make a spider diagram when you're writing your notes. This is a great way to organize your ideas and to make sure that you've got a logical flow in your ideas, which is what the examiner is looking for. The fourth tip that I shared is not to worry if you don't cover all of the bullet points. Ideally, you will cover all the bullet points, but if you don't have time to cover them all, that's okay. The fifth tip was to speak until the end. Don't stop speaking. The examiner will finally say, thank you very much, and they might ask you a follow-up question. Now, I've got a few more tips that I want to share. First of all, let me tell you a bit more about the follow-up question. Now, typically when the examiner asks a follow-up question at the end of part 2, you'll just give a one-sentence answer. Don't feel that you have to speak for a long time. And some examiners won't even ask the follow-up question, but be prepared if they do. The seventh tip is to make eye contact. Now, this might be hard to do. You might be looking at the examiner and they might be looking down. Some examiners don't like to make eye contact because they find it easier to listen and to concentrate if they're looking down. But if possible, you should try to make eye contact with the examiner. Now, here's some tips for if you run out of things to say, which is a really scary idea. So, what are these tips? What can we do? Well, reflect on what happened. So, for example, if this was my part 2, I might reflect on my time as an examiner. The idea is by reflecting on what happened, you suddenly give yourself lots more things to talk about. Another idea is to talk about the future. As soon as you bring up the future, there's so many things that you can talk about. Now, the final tip is to be careful of tricky topics. And I want to show you some of these tricky topics. This is a tricky topic. Why? Read through it and tell me, why do you think this is a tricky topic? Pause the video. Okay, do you know why it's a tricky topic? It says, describe an outdoor sport you would like to try for the first time. Now, when I've done this with students in the past, many talk about an outdoor sport they have done before, like basketball or surfing. If they've done it before, it's not a sport they would like to try for the first time, so immediately I'm giving them a much lower score. So be careful for these phrases like would like to try for the first time. Why is this a tricky topic? Pause the video. Okay, it says describe a public place you go to, for example, a park or a cafe, so it even gives you some examples. Now, this is tricky because many people talk about a place they go to that they find relaxing, for example, their living room. Now, their living room isn't really a public place. It's not where the public go to. A better idea is to talk about a cinema or a park or a cafe. Why is this a tricky topic? It says, describe a film you watched recently. Again, in the past, when I've done this with students, they've talked about a film they watched many years ago. And as a result, this isn't a film they watched recently, and I'm going to give them a much lower score. Now, I want to share some tips about how to practice part 2. Straight away, a very good idea is to watch lots of examples of Band 8 and Band 9 students. Watch how they perform in part 2, listen to the stories they tell, and observe the vocabulary they use. However, the most important thing is that you are practicing, and I would recommend that you record yourself with your phone. A good idea is even to do the same topic multiple times. The first time you do it, just focus on speaking for 2 minutes. That's all you have to do. Then listen and correct your mistakes and maybe look up some new vocabulary that would help you. Then do the topic again, this time focusing on accuracy. Get that vocabulary in, don't make those mistakes. And then try a third time where you focus on fluency. So now you're accurate and you're fluent. You're not hesitating, you're not repeating, you're not going, Remember, you're going to find a lesson PDF below this lesson with lots of part 2 topics that you can practice before your exam. Best of luck with your studies, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.